My sister secretly sold our grandmother's house and arrogantly told me, "You won't see a cent of that money." It broke my heart until the new owner called me one day saying, "You should come over. I found something in the attic that changes everything." When my sister saw it, she nearly fainted. I have never despised her more than in that moment. We were standing in Grandma's living room, the one with the creaky floors and the hideous green wallpaper she refused to replace for decades. The house smelled the same, like lavender and old books. It had always been my refuge growing up. But now, it wasn't ours anymore. "I sold it," my sister Claire announced, arms crossed, chin held high, daring me to react. I stared at her, confused. "What do you mean, you sold it?" She sighed dramatically, as if I couldn't follow. "The house, Grandma's house, is gone. The new owners are moving in next week." It felt like the ground had vanished beneath me. "You can't do that. We agreed we'd handle this together." She smirked, that same smug expression she wore when she was about to twist the knife. "No, you assumed we'd do it together, but Grandma named me executor of the will, and I decided to sell. And by the way," she leaned in, her voice dripping with fake sympathy, "you won't get a single dime." I was furious. This wasn't just a house to me, it was our family's history. Our summers spent baking cookies in the tiny kitchen while Grandma told us stories. It was where I stayed when I had nowhere else to go after my divorce. It was the only place that ever felt like home, and she sold it without even telling me. I clenched my fists, struggling to keep my voice steady. "Why would you do this?" Claire shrugged. "It was an old dump, and I could use the money." Simple. Use the money? I couldn't believe it. She rolled her eyes. "Oh, come on. Grandma always favored me. She wanted me to have a better life." That smug smile. "You'll never see a penny of it." I walked out. I knew if I stayed, I'd say something I'd regret. The next few weeks, I tried to move on. I told myself it was just a house, nothing more, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. I barely spoke to Claire, but she didn't care. She was too busy enjoying her newfound wealth, posting photos of shopping sprees and vacations, acting like she hadn't just destroyed our family. Then, one night, my phone rang. The number was unfamiliar. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. "Hello? Hi, is this?" The voice paused before saying my name. "Yeah, who's this?" "My name's Mark. I just bought your grandmother's house." A lump formed in my throat. "Oh, listen, I know this is strange, but I found something in the attic, and I think you might want to come over." "What is it?" I asked, a sense of dread creeping over me. There was a long pause. "I think it changes everything." Without thinking, I grabbed my keys and rushed out the door. I barely remember the drive. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles were white. My heart was pounding in my chest. When I arrived at Grandma's house, it no longer felt like home. The porch light was on, but the windows were dark, empty. Mark, a tall man in his 40s wearing a baseball cap, was waiting for me. He gave me a nod and motioned for me to follow him inside. "I wasn't sure if I should call you," he said as we walked down the hall, "but once I found it, I figured you'd want to see." "Found what?" I asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he led me upstairs to the attic. The pull-down ladder creaked under our weight. The attic smelled like dust and time, filled with old furniture and boxes. Mark walked to the far corner where a trunk sat, covered by a moth-eaten blanket. The lid was already open. Inside, wrapped in layers of yellowed cloth, was an envelope, thick and heavy. Mark handed it to me. "Go ahead." I took a deep breath and tore it open. Inside were papers, and the moment I began reading, my blood turned to ice. It was another will, a different will, dated 2 years later than the one Claire had used to sell the house. And this one, it left everything to me. My hand shook. "This can't be real," I whispered. Mark crossed his arms. "I thought the same, but I had a lawyer friend look at it. He says it's legit." My mind raced. How had this been hidden? And then it hit me. Claire. She had gone through Grandma's things after her passing. She'd been in charge of all the legal stuff. She must have found this new will and hidden it, knowing that Grandma had changed her mind and left everything to me. And instead of telling me, she buried it and sold the house. I felt sick. Mark must have noticed my reaction because he cleared his throat. "Look, I don't know all the details, but if this will is real, what she did, it's fraud." I swallowed. "Yeah," I said, barely above a whisper, "it is." That night, I couldn't sleep. I spent hours going over the will, taking pictures, and sending them to a lawyer friend. He called me at 6 a.m. "This is real," he confirmed, "and if your sister knew about it and still sold the house, She's in serious trouble. I barely heard the rest. My hands were already dialing Claire's number. She picked up on the fourth ring, groggy and annoyed. What do you want? You knew, I said, my voice eerily calm. There was a long silence before she scoffed. Knew what? Grandma's real will. Silence, then, a nervous laugh. I have no idea what you're talking about. You lied to me, I said, my anger barely contained. You found the real will, didn't you? And instead of telling me, you hid it. You sold the house and kept all the money, knowing it wasn't yours. More silence, then, the words that made my blood boil. Prove it. I hung up, because I was about to do exactly that. I didn't waste time arguing with Claire. I didn't need to. I went straight to a lawyer. When he saw the will, his eyes widened. This changes everything, he said. If your sister knew about this, she committed fraud. And that house? It wasn't hers to sell. It was yours. He didn't hesitate, filing the case immediately, a lawsuit against Claire, a motion to reverse the sale of the house, and a demand for every penny she had stolen. I knew Claire, CLA, wouldn't react well, but even I wasn't prepared for how things unfolded. The moment she received the legal papers, she completely snapped. She called me, screaming, "You have no right." I couldn't help but laugh. No right? You stole from me, you lied, and now you're going to pay for it. She slammed the phone down. Days turned into weeks, and then the real shock hit. My lawyer had dug deeper, and what he uncovered was far worse than I could have imagined. Claire hadn't just hidden one will, she had forged it. She'd faked the signature, fabricated witnesses, everything she used to sell the house was a lie. And now, she wasn't just facing a lawsuit, she was looking at jail time. I'll never forget the moment Claire realized she was finished. We were sitting across from each other in the lawyer's office. She looked pale, trembling, her fingers gripping the arms of the chair so tightly her nails dug into the wood. My lawyer laid out the facts, the real will, the forgery, the proof of fraud. Then he looked at her, calm as ever, and said, "You have two choices, return everything or go to jail." Claire's mouth opened and closed, as though she wanted to argue, but then she saw the look on my face. She knew, she had lost. Her body sagged, her hands shook, and then, in a heap of disbelief, she collapsed into the chair. For the first time in her life, she understood she wasn't going to get away with it. Claire returned the stolen money. She had no choice. The house was returned, and the sale was overturned. Mark, the buyer, was surprisingly relieved. He didn't want to be involved in a fraud case. As for me, I got my grandmother's house back. Claire, she lost everything, her reputation, her wealth, her freedom, because in the end, karma always catches up, and I made sure she paid the full price. I thought it was over. I thought Claire had learned her lesson, that she had finally faced the consequences of her actions. I was wrong. 3 months later, I got a call from my lawyer, and what he told me turned everything upside down. "Hey," my lawyer said, his tone tense, "we have a problem." I straightened up. "What now?" He exhaled heavily. "Claire's not done screwing you over." My jaw clenched. "What does that mean?" He hesitated before answering. "We looked into her finances, and it turns out she moved all the money before the court order came down." My stomach sank. "What?" "She transferred everything to an offshore account, then claimed she was broke." I couldn't believe it. She had given back some of the money, but only enough to make it seem like she was cooperating. The rest? She hid it. Claire had pulled off one final scam. I wasn't going to let her get away with this. Not this time. The very next day, I met with my lawyer, and we came up with a plan. Claire was arrogant. She thought she was smarter than everyone else. So, if I wanted to catch her, I had to act like I didn't know anything. I called her. "Hey," I said, forcing my voice to sound beaten, "can we meet?" She laughed, genuinely amused. "Oh, so now you want to be generous? Too bad you took your money. We're done." I gritted my teeth. "Please, just let's talk." There was a pause. Then, with exaggerated reluctance, she sighed, "Fine, but don't waste my time." She had no idea I was about to waste hers. We met at a small cafe downtown. Claire walked in, wearing designer sunglasses and carrying a brand new purse bought with stolen money. She sat down across from me, smirking. "So, what do you want?" I played my part. I don't want to fight anymore. This whole court thing has been exhausting." She sipped her coffee, looking smug. "Well, that's what happens when you drag family into legal battles." I almost choked on my drink. She was acting like she was the victim. I swallowed my anger and forced a smile. "Look, I just wanted to know, how did you do it? She raised an eyebrow. Do what? I leaned in, my voice low. Come on, I know you still have the money, you were always the smart one. I just want to understand how you pulled it off. She studied me for a moment, then laughed. And then, she told me everything. She bragged about how she transferred the money before the court could freeze her accounts, how she used a friend's name for the offshore transfer, how she kept just enough in her main account to make it look like she was cooperating. She laid it all out, thinking she was safe, thinking I was too stupid to figure it out. What she didn't know, I was recording the entire conversation. I sent the recording straight to my lawyer, and within 2 weeks, Claire was in handcuffs, charges of fraud, money laundering, and contempt of court. She didn't just lose the money, she lost her freedom. She had scammed one person too many, and this time, there was no escape. The court seized everything she owned. Her house, gone, her car, repossessed, her hidden funds, tracked and confiscated. In court, Claire cried, begging for leniency. The judge didn't care. You showed no remorse, he said. You stole from your own family, you lied, and now you'll pay the price. Claire was sentenced to 5 years in prison. As for me, I walked out of the courtroom lighter than I'd felt in years, because, finally, Claire had nothing left to steal, and I had everything I needed: justice. Claire in jail, this should have been enough for me, but after everything she put me through, I wanted to ensure she never had a way to bounce back. See, Claire always had a knack for landing on her feet. She could talk her way out of anything, charm people into thinking she was the victim. Even in prison, I knew she'd manipulate someone into helping her. But this time, I wasn't going to let that happen. Claire had one last safety net, her friend Amanda. Amanda was the one who helped Claire hide the stolen money. She was the one whose name was on the offshore accounts, the one Claire trusted to move the funds while she dodged the law. I knew if Amanda wasn't dealt with, Claire would have money waiting for her when she got out, so I did what Claire would never expect. I took Amanda down, too. I tipped off the police about Amanda's involvement, giving them everything: bank records, transaction receipts, even messages between Claire and Amanda plotting their scheme. It wasn't long before Amanda was arrested, and when she faced charges, she folded immediately. She ratted Claire out, more than I had hoped. She told the authorities about Claire's other scams, phony loans, unpaid debts, even a fake investment scheme she had run years ago. Turns out, Claire had a lot more skeletons in her closet than I thought. Her 5-year sentence was doubled. Claire wasn't getting out anytime soon. With both Claire and Amanda behind bars, I made sure Claire had nothing left. She had no money, everything was seized. She had no allies, Amanda turned on her, and all her so-called friends vanished the moment she stopped being useful. She had no home, her apartment was gone. Even if she got out early, she had nowhere to go. And the best part? She had to watch me win, because while she was trapped in prison, I was thriving. I restored Grandma's house. Every broken thing Claire had neglected, I fixed. Every memory she tried to erase, I preserved. The house she stole from me? Now, it was mine, legally, permanently, forever. And Claire? She had nothing. She sent me a letter once from prison, begging for forgiveness, saying she had changed. I never opened it. I sent it back, because Claire, she wasn't worth my time anymore. She got exactly what she deserved. And for the first time in my life, I finally had peace. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.